أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Alhamdulillah, all the praises and thanks be to Allah the Almighty, who has enabled us to present here. Peace be upon the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his ancestors, his family, and his holy companions. I really feel dignified to be here, as Brother Abul Haque has invited me to give a talk here. The brothers, you have already come to know that today's topic is feminism versus women's liberation movements. Hopefully, inshallah, I'll finish my discussions by 40 minutes anyhow. Just like before, I have divided my discussions into three parts. In my first part, I would like to discuss what is feminism. In my second part, inshallah, I will highlight the origin of feminism. And in the third part, I would like to highlight on the idea of liberation, of freedom. I will try to limit my discussion within these three areas today, because this is a very vast area, and obviously I need another session to discuss more and to clarify the whole matter. So let's start from the beginning. What is feminism? Before going, what is feminism, I think I need to clarify one thing, that why this topic is so important at this moment. As Brother Abul Haque has already said, that this is really a very complex subject for us to understand. It might be complex, but this is really very important for the Ummah. Do you know why? Because feminism is such an area, such a topic that has given rise to homosexuality, gay, lesbianism, meaning all the most discussed and disputed issues. So feminism is the mother of all these areas, all these issues. So without knowing the mother, how can we know the sons and daughters? We have to go to the root. So if we don't understand feminism properly, then it would be really difficult for us to know all these, difficult aspects and the most discussed areas in the present world. And we admit or not, we accept it or not, we see or we do not see, does not matter. These are the things that is prevailing in the society. So we can't deny feminism. We can't deny the existence of the other disputed issues in our society. And these are the terms that are taught in the universities. So this is a highly academic term. And this is an area of modern literary area, critical theory. So no way we have the scope to ignore it. So that's why we need to know what feminism is. What is the origin of feminism? Well, in the name of feminism, a lot of women feminists, they are trying to establish the liberation movement. They are saying that only feminism can ensure the liberations and the freedom of the women. Is it really so? Is it really true? So if we want to know the answers of all these questions, then it does not matter if we are a Muslim or a non-Muslim, we must know it as a human being. So I think today's discussion should not be limited to the Muslim, but this is in a sense, we can say a universal discussion. Okay, so let's go on what feminism is. It says advocacy of rights of women. And the term implies the identification of women as systematically oppressed and the belief that gender relations are neither inscribed in natural difference between the sexes nor immutable. It is a political commitment to their transformation. I think it sounds a little bit difficult. Okay, I'm making the things easier, inshallah. It means naturally there are no differences between the sexes. Organically or naturally, there is no differences between men and women, female and male. They are the same. So, meaning the relationship is changeable, meaning men can be women, women can be men. It's like that. Or more clearly, the meaning of a woman is variable and context dependent, meaning it depends on the context, it depends on the situation. According to situations, a man can be woman and a woman can be man. That is why this is called, this is context dependent, situation dependent. As a feminist says, one is not born woman, rather becomes a woman. It sounds surprising, but this is really true. According to the feminists, she says, one is not born woman, rather becomes woman. So it is not God, rather civilization as a whole that produces this creature. Meaning God has not created man and women, or God has not created woman. So who has created woman? Who has created this creation? Civilizations, cultures, traditions, faiths. In a whole, or in short, the society. The values existing in the society, the circumstances, the conditions, the rules, regulations made by the male in this patriarchal society. So they have created a barrier between a man and a woman. So this is not God. And on the basis of this famous saying by Simone de Beauvoir, we can say that, meaning this society, its culture, its tradition, its values, and the systems through a society runs, like economics, politics, religions, and so on, that determine the sexes, meaning who is man and who is woman. Now, politics determines, economics determines, social systems determines who will be men and who will be women. So again, there is no differences between men and women. Basically, they are the same. So, a woman can be men. Now, feminism is arguably a humanist or secularist ideology. Perhaps in one of our discussions we discussed what is secularism. So basically this is a humanist or secularist ideology, and a concept of womanhood that strips or stops the female of any distinguishing traits. Meaning, you can't distinguish a woman from a man. According to feminism, according to this theory or idea, thereby rendering the male and female genders indistinguishable. It says that men and women are just economic commodities or human resources. Now say the computer I'm using, it's just like a matter, it's just like a commodity. Or anything that we buy in a shopping mall. It's just like a good. You have a lot of goods in a shopping mall. You have a lot of commodities. So, it says that men and women are just economic commodities or human resources. According to university professor, feminist emerges from an imperialist monist or single visions and the solid dualism or oppositions of the self and other. Meaning here, males and females are locked in a never-ending struggle and conflict, as though there is no common ground between them, and as though there is no common humanity binding them together. Clearly speaking, it's just like two objects, two matters. There is no relationship, there is no binding, there is no tie. As it is already told, that this is just like a commodity. As one commodity is in a sense lifeless, and another commodity that is lifeless, and there is no relationship. There is no living relationship between them. So the relationship is like that, men and women. Why? Because this is already told that this is economic commodities. And what are the properties of the commodities? So the relationship will be like that. Okay. So the relationship is based on finance. The relationship is based on economics. And in a word, it can be said that this is materialistic relationship, the relationship between matter to matter. So can you see where we have gone from a very simple term to a very difficult and complex term? Okay. I mean, obviously, I have already told that the relationship is changeable, meaning men can be women, women can be men. It's just like a molecule. Suppose sodium and nitrogen. You can change sodium to nitrogen and nitrogen to sodium if you can change the molecule inside it. It's just like the matter. Or if you can change the electron, number of electron, then perhaps you can change one matter to another matter. So the relationship is like that. So it is said that the reality might be that feminism is actually much more than merely a war between the sexes. It is an attempt to reorder the world by eliminating the idea of two distinct and different sexes. So the feminism tries to transform the society in a completely new one. They want to change the whole thing. The common idea of a male and female, this idea will be turned upside down. The common conceptions or the existing conceptions of a woman being a mother or a sister, or the weaknesses of a mother or the weaknesses of the female, they deny it. They say, no, it's not possible that the women will have this type of weaknesses or these problems. Sometimes we say this is motherly love or this is sisterly love. They say, no, there is nothing like that. There can be nothing like that. So this is, in short, is feminism, but obviously we have more scopes to discuss on it. Now, come to the origin of feminism. Virginia Woolf is supposed to be the founding mother of feminism. She was a British writer, and in her two famous books, A Room of One's Own, which is written in 1929, and 3 Guineas, which is written in 1938. And she focused on the history and social context of women's literary production and the relations between male power and the professions. She expressed her main concerns with women's material disadvantages compared to men. Interestingly, Virginia Woolf, obviously, she was a very famous writer, and in the universities, her books are studied among the adults. So she was a literature. Now, obviously, we know literature deals with the spirit, the human mind or souls, and sometimes we can say this deals with the reason. But according to her, the main concerns with women's material disadvantages compared to men, there is nothing about the development of the spirit. There is nothing about the development of the soul, or there is nothing about the development of your intellect. Okay, intellectual development, spiritual development, or mental development. According to her, all this development are possible if the material development is possible. Meaning the material development will lead to the development of your spirit. The material development of the women will lead to the development of your reason and your intellect as well. So the material development is direct, though she did not say anything like that directly, but this was her main concern in her writing. And that's why she was really worried about the material advantages compared to the men. Basically, this is a comparison, this is a fight, what I have already said. That the feminism means meaning unending, continuous fight and conflict, a war between men and women. And that's why wherever you have the word feminism, there you have the word for, meaning comparisons between men and women. Right. Just a few minutes ago, I told you that feminism speaks about the material development, and it says that everything is commodity. Just let me give you an example. Now, man is marrying a man. A woman is marrying a woman. So what does it imply? What is it for? Meaning everybody is equal. Everybody is just like a matter. Right. There can be a relation between a matter and matter. There can't be a relationship between a living thing and non-living thing. So man should be changed to matter. Then your original right will be established. And this point I will discuss later. So material advantages, that's the main term, that is the main hitting point for the feminism. So to her, meaning to Virginia Woolf, gender identity is socially constructed and can be challenged and transformed. Now, do you know the differences between gender and sex? Okay, I will come later about this term. According to Virginia Woolf, then, gender identity is socially constructed. How? Suppose I'm a female, right? So my gender is female. So this female identity is socially constructed. Socially constructed means the society has constructed it. The society has made it. Nobody has made it. The society does not have any right to do that. Who is the society to do that? And society can't do that because this society is dominated by the male. The society is dominated by the father, not by the mother. Even there is a mythology that why this society is male dominated. There is a very funny and interesting story about it. The story is that long before, the female, they dominated the society. They dominated the whole world. And the maximum, meaning goddess, they are female. Obviously, goddesses are female. And they dominated the whole thing. And there was a fight between male god and female god. And there is a fight between male and female. And in that fighting, in that battle, in the female, they were defeated by the male. And from that time, the whole society and the whole universe is dominated by the male. It's a very funny idea, but it's a matter of study. This is studied in the higher educational institutions. So that's why it says, meaning gender identity is socially constructed. Meaning this is society, this is circumstances of the society, rules of the society that have constructed this relationship. Basically, there is no relationship like this. And this can be challenged. This gender relationship can be challenged anytime, and it can be transformed. Meaning it can be changed from one to the other. Next comes, Simone de Beauvoir, and she was a very famous French feminist, and she was a lifelong partner of Jean-Paul Sartre, another philosopher, in her famous book, The Second Rex, which was published in 1949. So we can see that Virginia Woolf, basically, her presentation was before 1950. But Simone de Beauvoir, she became, she come to the point and focus basically after 1950. But her second books created really huge, disputes in the area of feminism, and it gave a new guidance to the world of feminism. So she assaulted on man's biological and psychological as well as economic discrimination against women. So according to her, the biological discriminations, psychological discriminations, economic discriminations, meaning all these discriminations, prevail in the society, and all these discriminations are done by the men. So if we can remove these economic discriminations, biological discriminations, and social discriminations, then the women's right and the freedom can be established, otherwise not. So again, the same terms, meaning the underlying, the idea, the war, the battle, the fight between men and women, which is really unending. She says that woman is riveted, meaning put into a lopsided relationship with men. Man is the one and the woman is the other. Man's dominance has secured an ideological climate of compliance or obedience. Legislators, priests, philosophers, writers, and scientists have striven to show that the subordinate positions of women is willed in heaven and advantageous on earth. Now again, the religious or the biblical references is brought here. Yes, this is true, meaning we can't ignore it. Because if you go to the churches, if you go to the courts, even if you go to the academically philosophical areas, then even scientists, then you will say the maximum people in these areas are male, right? And even according to her, meaning the male or the men are given the surety or the certainty of going to the heaven more than women. But obviously this is religious philosophy, and obviously Islam does not have relationship with this, right? But sadly, these are the ideas that have been, imported into the third world countries, in the Muslim countries, and the non-Muslim countries as well, where there is no issue of this type of things, no issue of going, male to the heaven and female to the hell. Even if you go to South Africa, there are a lot of countries even who never thought of this type of things. But it's still a country like Nigeria. If you go there, then you will see a lot of feminist writers, a lot of feminists, who have digested these feminist theories. And you will find a lot of spokesmen, even they don't know all these things. Right. So to her, it is the system of interpretations in relation to biology, psychology, reproduction, economics, etc. She is in favor of the destruction of patriarchy if women will only break out of their objectifications. Again, the same thing, the same idea. It is the system of interpretations in relation to biology, psychology, reproduction, and economics. Meaning, literature is explaining in one way, psychology is explaining one way, and sociology is explaining the other way. Meaning, this is a matter of explanation. These are the academical subjects. They are explaining that she is a woman and he is a man. And that's why she is a woman and he is a man. So it is a matter of explanation. But if all these subjects explain the other way, or if all these subjects are diverted or transformed according to the feminist in that way, and if they tell that, no, this is a woman, but this is a man, then the women will be men, and the men will be women. So this is a matter of interpretation, explanation. So there is nothing fixed here, there is nothing constant here. You can say that this is a woman, so this is a woman all the time. No, this woman can be a man. If you can explain it, if you can interpret it that way. This is a matter of explanations, which is the main theme of deconstruction. According to deconstruction, it says that there is no truth, only explanation. And it is true about anything, any religion, any religious books, any ideas, any theories. If you say that, look, meaning you can't indoctrinate anything. If you say my religion is the best religion, so there is these things in religion, you can say that. You can say that this is true. Then what is it? This is mere explanation, interpretations. So you can interpret, but you can say that this is true. So interpretation can make a day night and a night day, if you can interpret the thing that way. So changing the sex not sex, changing the gender. Changing the gender, transform the gender from one to the another, it depends on your interpretation, your explanations. There is nothing constant, there is nothing fixed. And that's the bottom line. Then comes Millett, and she was a feminist. She's a feminist writer of United States, and whose argument is ranking of her history, literature, psychoanalysis, sociology, and other areas is that ideological indoctrination as much as economic inequality is the cause of women's oppression. It could be, yes, there is oppressions, right? But according to her, if we can remove all these things, then it is possible that there will be justice and there will be meaning women's liberation. To her, sex is determined biologically, but gender is a psychological concept which refers to culturally and acquired sexual identity. This is a very important idea that comes from her. It's a sex is determined biologically. It's a women's sex or this is men's sex. So biologically you can't differentiate it. But what about gender? Gender is a psychological concept. Psychological concept means this is a social concept. I mean, if you can change your psychology, if you can transform your psychology, if you can interpret your psychology that way, if you can explain your psychology that way, then the whole thing will be transformed from one to the another. That's why she says gender is a psychological concept which refers to culturally acquired sexual identity. And the unequal and repressive relation of dominations and subordinations is called sexual politics by Millett. So she says that in a society there prevails sexual politics. And what is sexual politics? So this is the sexual politics, meaning unequal and repressive relations of dominations and subordination as well. Next comes Marxist feminism, meaning I'm saying that you have a lot different types of feminisms, okay, at different times. Marxism says that working class women experience the double oppressions of the sexual divisions of labor at work and in the home. Because when a woman works at home, according to Marxism, she is oppressed. And at the same time, so when a woman works outside home, she is sexually oppressed as well. Because financially she is oppressed, or economically she is oppressed, so she is oppressed in a double way. And then comes Elaine Sholter, is another influential feminist. And she creates a new terms that is called gynocriticism. Obviously, we can discuss it later because in time we will not support. And then comes Kristeva, Lacan, and many more. And their contributions in this area related to the idea that women is not a physical being but a writing effect. So we'll see that at the end, the conclusion will come. Though the idea was not like before at the beginning, but at the end, the idea about feminism is that it's a matter of matter. The relationship will be based on matter, not anything else. Obviously, in my next lecture, if there is opportunity, I will try to link all these things, hopefully. Now, I'd like to say something about the idea of liberation, which is my last part. What is the idea of liberation? It's a women's liberation, right? Now, when the word liberation, we hear this term, then the idea of freedom, the idea of separation, and the idea of what? Meaning going anywhere without any resistance. This idea comes in our mind. Now you have family liberation, social liberation, political liberation, psychological liberation, philosophical liberation, meaning freedom. Now, what is family freedom? What is social freedom? What is political freedom? Okay, family freedom means, it can mean that in family all the people will enjoy their freedom. Right. Meaning nobody will be slave of anybody. Meaning everybody has the right to enjoy his or her rights in a family. Right. If anybody wants to eat something, then he or she can eat it. That is family liberation. There will be no coercion, there will be no oppression, there will be no injustices. That can mean family liberation. But it can have another meaning, but at least by family liberation, I understand this. What is social liberation? In a society, everybody will be equal. Everybody enjoy the equal justice. And a lot of other things what you have in a society. What is political liberation? Meaning all the political leaders will have equal rights to vote. Or what else? Yes, political liberations mean things related to politics. Political freedom. People will have the freedom to express their views, meaning equal right. But interestingly, the liberations for the feminist, it's a little bit different. What do they understand? What do they mean by liberation or freedom? It's according to them, if a woman especially want to be free, then obviously he must be free from man's oppressions. If she can't be, then she can't enjoy any right. And that's why she has to be like a matter. There will be no family. A man works, a woman will work. If a man can work for 20 hours, a woman can work for 20 hours. And at the same time, if a woman, feels the pain of having a baby, a man should do it as well. And surprisingly, in America, in a hospital, a lot of young people, they are called together, and then the plastic womb are created just to make them feel how painful is it. Right. So, according to them, if you have to be like a matter, if you can be like a matter, then it is only possible for you to enjoy the 100% freedom, otherwise not. And that's why there is no difference between a man and man, and that's why the homosexual or lesbianism or gayism, a man is marrying a man. Why? Because both of them are like matter. A woman is marrying a woman. Why? Because there is no difference between them. When all are equal, all are the same. And that's why, again, the same ideas are coming. It's socially constructed, meaning the society has constructed. Basically, there is nothing, no truth here. There is nothing fixed here as truth. So that is the idea of women liberation according to feminist criticism or feminism. So that are the three topics I have tried to cover in short. So let us summarize the whole things very quickly by 2 to 3 minutes. Then obviously we'll go to question and answer session. So first, I have told you what feminism is. So obviously it is the advocacy of the rights of women, and the term implies the identification of women as systematically oppressed, the belief that gender relations are neither inscribed in natural differences between the sexes nor immutable. It is a political commitment to their transformation. And feminist emerges from a imperialist monist or a single visions and the solid dualism or oppositions of the self and other. And here, males and females are locked in a never-ending struggle, the struggle that never will be finished. It's a conflict, continuous conflict, and as though there is no common ground between them, as though there is no common humanity binding them together. So that is feminism. And regarding origin of feminism, I have told that Virginia Woolf, she is supposed to be the founding mother of feminism, and her main constance was the material disadvantages compared to men, And Simone de Beauvoir, who told in her books, The Second Rex, that women, nobody is born women. Rather, society makes somebody man or makes somebody women. There are some other feminists, who have a lot of contribution in this area, like Millet. And in my last part, I have told, what is the idea of liberation. So the idea of liberation, according to feminists, that you have to be changed to be a matter. Then only you can enjoy the full liberty, or what meaning freedom. Okay, and the relationship will be like matter, like a commodity, and like human resource. So that's all for my discussions. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. Now, if you have any questions, kindly you can ask me.
Virginia Woolf is Virginia is a very feminine name, and Woolf is a very masculine name. So I think she's confused. Her name is very confusing to begin with, let alone her theories on philosophy regarding feminism. My question is, what advice can you give to Muslim brothers who now have taken this evil turn? For example, I was working in Selfridges a couple of years ago, and this brother's name, I'm not going to say his name, but apparently he's gay and he's Muslim at the same time, and it's an ever-growing trend these days. Muslims are becoming a few in numbers, but rising whatsoever. What advice can you give to brothers? And some talk, this brother said, it's natural to think about it, but to carry it out is another thing altogether. What advice can you give to brothers who are going through that phase?
Can you clarify your question?
What advice can you give to Muslims who are under societal pressures, like this feminism, homosexuality, to be frank? What advice can you give them? Because a lot of people are becoming gay. Is it a disease in your eyes? Is it? Are they still classed Muslims?
Okay, that's fine. First thing, you have to discuss in general. At the beginning, you don't bring any religious issues. By your common sense and by your logic, try to make him understand why this is bad. Because obviously, there is clear differences between men and women. Because everything, if all the women change to matter, then there will be no mother. Now, obviously, you can't deny the relationship between mother and son. You can deny the love relationship between a mother and son, and a father and daughter, and father and son. But feminism is a problem, where there is they don't say any relationship like this. There will be no love relationship. The relationship will be totally based on economics, totally based on matter. This is a completely materialistic relationship. So it will take you in a world where there is no idea about, there is no common ground. There is no tie. Right. So that's the big problem. And secondly, you can obviously tell him about the, the Quranic verses and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, or what is the Quranic logic, okay, or what is the logic of the hadith. Just let me tell you one thing. When I was in a training in my university, there was a converted Muslim. Now she told me, just a lot of discussions going on. She told me, look, if somebody is a homosexual, then why should kill him? Why you should kill him? Does Islam say to kill him? Now there are a lot of questions, but obviously I am not a mufti or I am not a big alim. But my common sense, alhamdulillah, worked at that time, because at the time of Hazrat Lut alayhi salam, Lot, according to Bible, in his town, when the people were engaged in homosexuality, then Lut alayhi salam did not go to them at the beginning, and firstly he told to him, look, if you do that, then Allah will have his destruction upon you. No, he did not say that. What he did first he went to them and he tried to convince them, look, this is a very bad work, don't do it. The people did not hear him. Then he again went to them and told them, look, I have very beautiful daughters. And in this city, there are a lot of beautiful women. Okay, go and marry them. If you don't have that ability, I will arrange marriage for you. Can you see how he is trying to change them? Even the people did not hear him. Then he again went to them. And he gave them, one after another, the alternatives. But there was a time when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stopped him and said, now time is up. So this is the way. Meaning when somebody is like that, then you have to go to him with a lot of alternatives. The case is not that if somebody is gay or if somebody is homosexual, just kill and finish him. It's not like that. It does not work that way. So you have a lot of alternatives, and we have to know the alternatives, and we have to apply those alternatives that way. Then a time will come when, inshallah, things will be okay. Right? Any more questions to ask?
Just a quick question. Recently, what's going on in Bangladesh? We've seen that there's, the building, a lot of people perished. On the news reports, it's saying a lot of women have perished. As you were saying before, is it because in Bangladesh they have this idea of women liberalism, as it will? Even if you go to, Wikipedia or the pages, the first pictures that you'll see is a rally in Bangladesh, Women's Day. In the year they have various days, this and that. So Women's Day, they have that. As you were saying, so is it Bangladesh is also going for this trend? So therefore, as you said before, that these Muslim countries are slowly taking on these liberal ideas about, feminism, and now women are now going out to work and they feel that they can work. But the problem is, as you said before, you got the middle class families or the poor class families that have to work, yet they have to work at home. So they're both pulled in different directions. Is it to do with, my question basically is it to do with a mentality that's changed, or is it to do with basically that, this is the trend and we just follow it?
Okay, that's fine. Now, obviously, the discussions I have done, obviously this is in terms of the Western society. But obviously it is spreading into different areas of the world. And obviously in Bangladesh you have the ideas. And for the last 10 years, if you study the history of Bangladesh, then you will see, yes, you have a lot of feminist activities rising, and especially in the universities. Now, regarding the workers in the garments factory, basically you don't have any separation, segregations. I think out of meaning the garments, you have few. I think it will be 5 or 6 garments where you have the segregations, meaning the women are separated from the men. But the rest of the garments, the men and women both are working together, right? And sometimes you'll be surprised, they work for 20 hours, right, out of 24 hours a day. Now, I think there is nothing with feminism here, because these people, these women and men, basically they are forced to work together. Even the recent incident happened, that was the strike called by the opposition party in that day. Even the workers, they did not want to go there to work. Firstly, there was a hole in the building, a crack in the building, and that's why they did not want to go. And at the same time, it was a strike day, right? So there was huge risk, two sides risk. One is crack, another is, strike. But still, those people are forced to go there. And then this sad incident happened. So the people are forced to do that. But at the same time, in the name of feminism or the women's rights, a lot of people are trying to get a lot of women from the garment sector, and they are giving them money, they're assisting, especially the neighboring countries, because they are trying to destroy the garment area of Bangladesh totally. And that's why they are trying to pick up those women feminists from the government sectors. They are investing a huge amount of money, and sometimes they are making a very chaotic situations. And you have the news on TVs and the newspapers that they are burning and breaking the government's factories. But obviously, I will say in the universities especially, a lot of women are being attracted by this, theories, because the other side of the the coin, meaning the Islamic people, or the people who should give the right picture of the feminism, meaning they are failing again and again. Because the recent things that happened in the Shahbag, the bloggers, their abusive language. Obviously, these things, hasn't happened in one day, right? So the secularists, the professors in the universities, meaning they have invested their labor for the last 20 or 30 years, and this is their result. This meaning they are harvesting now, right? So at the same time, I think the ulemas of Bangladesh, or the Islamic people of Bangladesh, meaning they should show, look, this is the wrong way and this is the right way. And at the same time, they should establish the universities, and they should, train their boys and the girls, and especially they should create an intellectual group, who can face these challenges. But unfortunately, it is not happening. Okay, so thank you very much.
I have one, sorry, just a quick question. Can a feminist believe in God? If she is a true feminist,
right, right.
We say female rather than woman,
right?
Because you said gender.
Yeah.
Can a feminist, a female, believe in God?
Yes, a feminist can believe in God in that sense. Meaning, obviously, a feminist in Egypt, obviously different from that of the America, or a feminist in India. Suppose when the English,
just the West.
Suppose a feminist in India when the English was monarch there. When they ruled, the India, obviously there were a lot of Indian women who revolted against them, right? And many says that this is one kind of feminism, right? So their feminism is totally different from that of the British feminist theory or idea. So it depends on what type of thinking they have, feminist thinking they have, right? And we need to study. Then obviously we can come to a conclusion.
Can I just say a few words?
Yes, please.
If I quote you correctly, you said that woman's name. What's her name? Yeah, that Woolf.
Virginia Woolf.
Virginia Woolf. She says that feminism is a concept that says female is not born. A female is not born, but is made. Hence, i.e. by society.
This is not, I'm sorry, this is Virginia Woolf, she did not say it. This is said by Simone de Beauvoir.
Okay. If a person, I believe, if a person has that aqidah, that belief, then they are denying that Allah Ta'ala is the Khaliq. Allah Ta'ala is the creator of everyone and everything, because this is our aqidah as Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, that Allah Ta'ala is the creator of everything, including He is responsible for making a person male and female. Just like a person, if they do not believe in one word of the Quran, they become kafir. I believe not believing in this belief of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah renders a person away and outside of the fold of Islam.
It's finished. Okay, and thank you very much for your patient hearing and questioning. Hopefully there will be another session on it on the last day of the next month, and I invite you to come here and listen to the topics again. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.